I'm Marc Bousquet. I teach at Santa Clara University. For me, some of the biggest cultural differences that I've experienced in the academy are, I would characterize more as regional than as about the campuses themselves. That is, I was raised in the East, went to school, went to Ivy League schools in the East, and then went to a tough blue-collar graduate school. I was recruited to the City University of New York for a variety of reasons I've talked about elsewhere. Almost left, but stayed in part to be near Stanley Aronowitz. And also stayed in large part because had this great union culture. It was a truly democratic faculty-student relationship, and the faculty were enormously democratic in part because of the pervasive union culture. I would love to see that rough sense of, we're not that different from pipe fitters. That is much more common in the East than it is in the South and the West. I think we are our own worst enemies. We have done this to ourselves. We have agreed to the situation. The sense in which I'm most classically historical materialist is that I believe that those of us who work have all the power in the workplace. The problem is that, especially in the academy, we have gotten in the habit of giving all of that power away. We can take it back. It gets harder and harder to take it back the more you accept the silly ideas that management wants you to accept, that the powerful figures on campus want you to accept, that you're a little bit better than all of the people in the various ranks below you and so forth, and that you earned your way into that position and so forth. The more you accept that propaganda, the harder it is to communicate with all those people that you have accepted contempt and scorn for. But if we can overcome this sense that there's a class of us who should be directing the syllabi and directing the careers and directing the lives of all the rest, and if we accept the possibility that we'll all be better off if everyone has a fair voice and a fair share in the power on the scene in the workplace, in the academic workplace, just like any other workplace, if we accept that and we begin talking to each other, we can make our problems go away relatively quickly. The hardest part is getting to that conviction that we have to get over ourselves and start talking to each other. I think that work-life balance is a global challenge. That is, work and leisure are very unequally, unfairly distributed, but also very cannily distributed by those who manage our work and our leisure time, so that we're always rushing from too much work to excessive behaviors in our leisure and so forth. That it's very difficult for any of us to have any kind of balance. I don't think that's a problem particular to the academy, and I think that many of us get into academic life because we imagine that through academic life we'll be able to achieve a better balance. And I think that a fraction of us do that. But increasingly, the fraction of us who have achieved that balance is really a tiny minority. I think that very few people not in the tenure stream have that balance, unless they have it already by way of having financial security, by way of either who they've married, or by way of having a pension, or by way of having independent wealth, or by way of having another secured position. Increasingly, work-life balance is not achieved through the academy, but is achieved despite the demands that the academy make on us. So in part, I think I've become so active in AAUP and other forms of trying to change the system precisely because I feel the need to be active in restoring the possibility of work-life balance, not just for myself, but for the great majority of us.